Hello, guys and girls, fellow TikTokers and YouTube. Welcome to a musical movie soundtrack review of mine, and that is to the movie musical that recently came out a couple of days back this year, and I'm talking about the fantastic movie starring Cynthia Enrio, Ariana Grande, Jeff Goldblum, to name a few, and I'm talking about the movie soundtrack Wicked, which I thought was absolutely amazing. And I did a fair few short videos, as you probably would have seen yesterday, of a fair few different songs from the Wicked movie soundtrack. But when I got up earlier this morning, I decided to put on my Spotify and the headphones that I'm wearing and listen to the full soundtrack, every single one of the songs, and I still absolutely adore this soundtrack. I think that this soundtrack is absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait to see what the Wicked Part 2 soundtrack is going to be like for the second movie that comes out on the same date next year, because Wicked Part 2 comes out the same time in November of 2025. Now, I know that's a while away, but just like this year going so quick and it's already nearly December, Wicked Part 2 will come around fast. So once November comes around, you definitely know it will be Wicked Part 2 coming, which I think will be an epic final movie to the first part, and I definitely cannot wait for Wicked Part 2. And Wicked Part 2, when it comes out, also not only to the movies but also to like either your stock standard or your Blu-ray or 4K DVD, because I think that Wicked Part 2 will be another epic movie, and we'll have another epic and awesome fucking soundtrack. Now listening to the soundtrack on random, like listening to songs here and there was great, but listening to the full soundtrack from the very first song on the soundtrack of No One Mourns the Wicked to Defying Gravity at the very end, and the extra added bonus orchestra song at the end of the Wicked soundtrack was also pretty damn amazing as well. So it's definitely one of those soundtracks that I'm going to be cherishing for a very long time and listening a lot of too, whether it be the full soundtrack or whether it be certain songs from the soundtrack. And I definitely want to do more movie musical soundtrack reviews for you guys as well. I want to review again or do a review on the Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical soundtrack, because that has so many good songs. Like, I want to do some small videos like I did with Wicked, like on certain songs, and of course on the full soundtrack, which I watched Matilda the Musical like a fair few times already, but I'm definitely going to be watching that movie again. And I want to do other like soundtrack musical reviews, like Les Miserables, for example, or just all the musical ones that I've really more or less been into. And Wicked is definitely another soundtrack that I love. There's so many good songs on that soundtrack. Dancing Through Life was great. Defying Gravity is always going to be a fucking smash hit song. Just wow. No One Mourns the Wicked was just absolutely great as well. Just every single song on this soundtrack smashed it, and it's just an awesome soundtrack. If you haven't seen the movie musical yet, hurry up and go to theaters and go see Wicked for yourself. And if you're a fan of movies and musicals like me and you love good songs and you want to download a part of your like musical Spotify account, or if you've got not necessarily you just got Spotify, but if you're like me, a fair few years back when I did have like iTunes cards, and if you want to like download the soundtrack on old school iTunes or on Spotify or YouTube Music, for example, definitely do so because you will definitely not be disappointed. It is a phenomenal soundtrack, and I'm sure this soundtrack will make so much money with not only the release of the movie, but people who have seen the Wicked movie or people who have seen Wicked live, as in the live musical theatre play of Wicked, will definitely love this version of the soundtrack as well. And even people who have like the Wicked cast soundtrack from like the stage musical should also get the movie musical soundtrack as well to add to their collection of CDs or their collection of vinyl records, because it's an absolutely amazing soundtrack. And I'm going to be rating the soundtrack very, very highly because I love the Wicked movie musical soundtrack. And in saying that, I'm going to be ending my review now, and by giving you a big star rating for the Wicked movie musical soundtrack. Hearing Ariana Grande do a musical soundtrack is just so damn awesome, and not only that, it makes you want to hear her normal everyday music as well. And in saying that, I'm going to be giving Wicked, the movie musical soundtrack, a big 15 out of a big 15.5 out of 20 star rating. That's just how good the soundtrack is. It's amazing. Go check it out.